I was like suicidal. The more I prep, the more I fail. Those were some of the toughest years of my life. It was a lot of therapy, by the way. Content runs in my blood. Everyone starts from the bottom. And I think that's when all the mental health problems started. But I'm never scared of money. I do think money can buy happiness. I cannot do content creation full time.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Decoding Quirks. I'm your host Aditi, and today we have a very influential guest with us. Why do I say that? Firstly, she's bagged a social media star award, so that already tells you a lot. She is one of the most 100 Asian influencers in UAE, which we're again going to find out a lot about. She's done her mechanical engineering and she has worked at one of the Fortune 500. She left her corporate job to follow her passion of blogging, which is very interesting. And now she runs a marketing agency, which has a really quirky name. As for me, it's very quirky. So it's X and Digitize, and we're going to find out more about that. But okay, work aside, we are also going to decode a little bit about her personal life because she has been so honest with her feelings on social media. And let's face it, this is mental health, right? So welcome, Naomi D'Souza.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, how are you?
Good. You've already made me feel very comfortable.
Yes. See, I mean, honestly, it's just a conversation. We're just going to talk, and comfort kind of adds to that.
Exactly.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so we know the basic intro, we've seen it, everybody's best foot forward on social media. We know that.
Yeah.
Why did I even ask you to come here? Let's start with that. I have always seen you be so honest about your life. Maybe not everybody says the exact details, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You want to keep that private, you want to like understand and decode it for yourself before you put it out there. Because even oversharing can be
100%. Yeah. I mean, I've faced the brunt of that.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So also we've learned through our ways to figure out
Yeah.
what we want to put out there. What I have found really interesting and exciting was that two, three things. I remember you talking about being bullied
Yeah.
in school for having a working mom, which blew my mind.
I was surprised as well. I mean, I thought that was, I mean, at that time, if I put myself in that position at that age, I was like, okay, cool, maybe it is an issue because everyone is speaking about it. But I think only now after the age of 23, 24, did I realize like, wait, why did that even happen? So yeah, it is quite odd.
Yeah. And like I love the fact that you shared that. I know that you also your dog passed away, my
Yeah.
dog passed away, so I fully related to that as well. Sorry. So you put your emotions out there, and that's what really was exciting because it's not all about work, 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 and sale, 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 and buy, buy, buy.
Yeah.
It's really who you are, and being comfortable with that is a whole other journey of healing. Let's be honest.
Yes.
So you have healed and got into that place where you're so comfortable talking about it. So first, let's just give everyone background of who you are and how did you reach this place of being an influencer, blogging, marketing. Let's start.
So, like, where do I even start?
Anywhere that feels comfortable.
Okay, so I decided to pursue mechanical engineering right after school because I genuinely loved engineering and science. It wasn't one of those instances that people may believe that they see parents become an engineer or a doctor. So my dad was in the engineering field and my mom was in like a corporate field, finance, operations, things like that. And I was always towards what my dad used to do. Like if my dad used to be drilling stuff around the house, I used to go pick it up. But if my mom was working on Excel sheets, I'd never be interested in that. So I think from a very young age, did I realize I always had an inclination towards these male-dominated fields, as they would call it at that time. Even karate, I have a black belt in karate because at that time my parents were like self-defense, you're a woman. I mean, of course, like it's kind of like a no-brainer. And then at the same time I got into music, and then that's when I did my Trinity examination in 4 grades in keyboard and piano as well. So I got into college, I did mechanical engineering, and then I got my first job as a mechanical engineer. And then that's when I realized that in order to progress in my field, in that said job, I need to do my master's. So at that time, I started pursuing my master's in oil and gas. And coincidentally, at that time, I was getting frustrated with engineering because it got quite monotonous, at least in this region, because your job is always directly proportional to the region you're
Yeah.
in, because there's not much R&D in this region, etc., etc. Then I got a job at IBM. And then suddenly I moved to tech. And at that time, I took a part time in master's. So it was a 2 year course. So I moved to tech while I was doing my master's in science. And I was like, oh my God, I'm in a pickle. Because while I was studying my bachelor's, that's when I was. It's like Inception, right? It's like a cobweb. Like I hope you're keeping up.
Yeah, I
So
am. I'm trying.
so when I was doing my bachelor's, I used to post random cookies, molten chocolate cakes online, like Tim Hortons, Chili's, like literally the most cliche basic stuff. I didn't know blogging was a thing in Dubai. I swear I did not know. I didn't know you could get paid big bucks to eat a cake. I didn't know any of that. I was posting it in a similar fashion how you would post vacation pictures online. Purely that. But I think people realize there's this crazy dessert lady in town. So my friends used to tag their friends used to tag their friends. And by word of mouth, I started gaining followers. That is literally what it was. And I was studying mechanical engineering at that time. I remember I just got my driving license and I used to go like I used that as an opportunity. Oh, let me try all the cakes and brownies in the world. And then all of a sudden, I started getting invited. And I remember my first invite was from Movenpick in JBR, Movenpick at JBR. It was for their Christmas tree lighting ceremony. That was my first event. I was so excited. I was like, "What is this?" And I wanted to ask them, "Is this like free, or you want me to pay? Like what is this, right?" And then I got invited, and then slowly, like the invites started pouring in. Like, what are your rates? Do you want to try our ice cream? And I remember at that time
Wow.
I charged like 100 dirhams for like 50, in fact. It was 50 first, and I was like, okay, let me double it. And I just made it 100 dirhams. And that's literally how it started. So, as I told you, then I got a job at in tech. And then I joined IBM, and the blog just kept going on.
Yeah. So
It,
you were
it,
doing it simultaneously.
yeah, it was just on autopilot. So it was very difficult. I would say those were some of the toughest years of my life because I was put in a project in Abu Dhabi and I'd have to go to Abu Dhabi every single day. So my day would start at 7 and then I'd reach Dubai around 7, 8. God forbid if there was traffic, I'd be screwed. Then I'd have a shoot right after that. Or sometimes I'd have a tasting right after that to keep the momentum on my page. It was very, very messy. And I think that's when all the mental health problems started getting even worse because there was a colleague who was extremely jealous. Clearly, you had no life if you're watching this.
I love it.
He complained to the lawyers at IBM that I was on another payroll. I was not.
What?
I was not on another payroll, and then I got involved with lawyers saying that I would lose my job because yeah. So he's like, I'm
Okay.
doing yeah, without getting into too many details, and then I had to give like a letter, a confirmation saying I'm not on another payroll. I am doing this just how XYZ is running their photography page, their graphic design page, just because mine is just a wee bit more successful than you asshole. Like,
Wow.
yeah, so that's what happened. And from that time, everyone kept telling me, even including my mom, stop the blog. This is not going to get you anywhere. And I knew deep down, like, I believe my intuition is solid. 98% of the time, whatever I say comes true. And I know that for a fact. And I don't mean this in a braggy way. I mean this in a very proud way. So I knew I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop. I got a lot of hate. Several people telling me leave, like if this is my journey, if I want to take this consultancy route, I need to stop. I didn't.
Wow. And here we are today.
Yeah,
Where I have so many questions on how did you know first? How did you know that this is your calling, or this is your passion?
I feel everyone needs to have a passion project on the side with their full-time job. So although I have my own although I have my own marketing firm right now, I did not stop this blog, although I'm extremely tired. Like the past 3, 4 days as well, as you know, my working
Yeah.
hours were like 12 to 14 hours. I just landed last night at 1 a.m. I could easily not do this.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I'm in full throttle mode right now. I gave myself a break in summer. So literally, I consider it a full throttle mode, like for myself. And then I just go all out because everyone should pursue their passion because after like full-time job is important because that's what gets you the income at the end of the day regularly every month, but there has to be something that also fuels you even further, like a passion project or a hobby, or it's something like you know what they say, you should always keep learning. This is what it is. Like you don't have to study. Okay, if I'm in a finance job, I don't necessarily have to study finance all the time. I have to study photography. Now if photography becomes my business because I leave my job and photography becomes my business, I will find something else because we're human beings. We always have to evolve. We always need to like multiple things, not like just like, I mean, at
Yeah.
least that's me.
No, no,
At least that's me.
that's true, because they always say, right? What are your hobbies? We used to call it hobbies, no, back in the day.
Exactly, back in the day. So that was one thing. Like it really got me so much joy because in consultancy you get thrown into projects sometimes that are not even of your interest. Like some projects I love from the bottom of my heart, some projects I didn't. So what is going to keep me going in life if I'm just going to get a big paycheck at the end of the month because it's consultancy? I need something to fuel me, and I knew for a fact, like, trust me, what I went through, it was nuts. I was like suicidal. It was nuts, but I was like, there is nothing going to stop me. And then at the end, 3 TED talks, I got these accolades that you mentioned. I opened my own marketing company. Now I work for some of those clients and they pay my company, right, for my team.
That's
So
beautiful.
like it's just your gut feeling, right? I think it's very true that people say always listen to your intuition, your gut feeling.
100%.
Like no one will get it except you. It's your gut.
Yeah, and you need to find that logic within yourself, right? Even though it's a gut intuition, you found the logic behind it. Like, okay, this
Yeah.
makes sense because yes, now there's money. Now
Yeah.
I have interest in it. Also, if this becomes my full-time job, what am I leaning towards later? So it's very beautifully, it ties up very beautifully,
Yeah.
right? And like you said, right, they overworking and the hardships of working, and then you feel suicidal. We've just heard a news recently of the girl who lost
Yeah.
her life in EY.
Yeah.
And
There are so many, by the way.
yeah, there
Even when
are
I was there are tons. It's just that people don't see it just because you get a big paycheck at the end of the month.
exactly. So I mean, in that case, does money buy happiness?
I actually posted about this. Like I would say that it does for comfort and convenience. It definitely does. But I think the only reason people say money doesn't buy happiness is because when people get money, they stop focusing on their spouse, their family, things like that. But for me, if I want a BMW or a Merc or whatever, and I'm sitting with my husband and my family, I do think money can buy happiness because it buys me the comfort and convenience. And although I always used to think that, oh, such successful people, such famous people, so pompous, things like that. But in no way am I saying I'm like super famous and I'm a celebrity, but whatever status I have achieved, it's gotten me a lot of convenience and contacts. If I have any issues with any company, as a person who is paying a monthly fee or a subscription, I just need to put something on my story or message them, and I do get priority.
Yeah.
So it is true, and I feel everyone in the world should strive for success and growth. So it's not really for only influencers or only celebrities, because anyone can become an influencer.
Yeah, that's true, right? I mean, have you seen the jump into everyone becoming an
Anyone can become an influencer. That's why when people ask me what I do, I say I'm a content creator. Because I mean, it's a term so vaguely used and everyone
Overused.
hates it,
Yeah.
and I don't want people to hate me. So don't call me an influencer. So I just say, okay,
No, I get
content
it.
creation.
I get
Yeah.
it. I get it.
Yeah.
Also, like, the relationship with money aspect. I also somewhere believe that money can get you to the place of convenience. So it will give you that BMW, like you
100%.
said.
Yeah.
You are working hard, it'll give you that BMW. Same way, if you are working still as a consultant, it would give you the money to get to that BMW, right?
Yeah.
But in both aspects, what has changed? You're also really passionate and happy with your job, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And there you're not. You're like, there's so much negativity around it, and you're just doing it for that last paycheck, you're doing it for that last transaction.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that doesn't like the happiness that you get after that sitting in that BMW, it's just like, okay, now what? What's the next chase? So then you're
100%.
chasing
Yeah.
again. So money can buy happiness.
I think one thing my life coach told me was, because I had, like, I remember that day I was like crying and I was so out of my mind. I was like, what am I chasing? Right? I asked her, what am I because I really didn't have an answer to it, because like, don't get me wrong, consultancy was amazing because it really created a ground for me, and like, to grow. I learned a lot from it. But even now in the business, I don't want to reach a point where I accept any and every business, if that makes sense, just to run the business, because there's more at stake when you run your own company. So I am no less than a consultancy, if that makes sense.
Oh, 100%.
If you think about it, I am no less than one. So I see why consultants become like that, because at the end, they are paid so much because you need to accept anything and everything. So that is what I was asking my coach. I was like, what is going on? Because at that time, I was really suffering with a client. And she told me, always have an anchor point. And that was so deep. Like, I just got goosebumps when I said that. She said, have an anchor point. So in this case, because I live with my husband and I am married, your anchor point can be your husband. Because your tantrums, your happiness, your anger, your sadness, everything, he's the one who deals with it. So if you have X clients now and this is how you are, get used to this. And if your husband is happy, you are good. Now take the extra client, the one extra client or the two extra clients, see how you are, see how you can manage it. Hire an extra person. Of course, we keep hiring as well. Hire an extra person, see how that is. But even when you hire, it impacts
Yeah.
the highest person on the ladder at the end of the day. So, and then see how your marriage is. And I remember at one point my marriage really suffered because I was just working, because I told you I want to run this passion project at the side because I'm stupid, like, I just want to keep going. So my marriage really got affected, right? And then it affects your mood, then it'll get affected how my relationship is with my mom, with my dad. It's
The
a ripple
entire
effect.
environment.
That's what she meant with the anchor. So that is how I make all my decisions now, actually. So if it's a BMW, or if it's a better house, or if it's a new bag, or if it's a new watch, any materialistic thing or not, or even travel, I always base all my decisions on my anchor.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So
So
yeah, that was so cute.
that was so
Yeah.
interesting because even I say this in a different angle. Like the way it looks in my head is that I will make a decision even though I have to work for 10% less money or 20% less money. I'd rather choose that because I'm buying
Yeah.
convenience, I'm buying time,
Correct.
I'm buying a peace of mind in that moment. And that peace of mind obviously affects my partner, it affects my
Yes.
relationship at home, it affects my relationship with my friends. And these are my support systems, right? This is my net that I don't want to abuse
Exactly.
in any way because
100%.
they've been
So
there.
yeah.
So yeah, so in my head it always is like I don't mind taking like a few clients less because with that money I'm actually buying peace of mind.
Definitely.
So money can buy happiness or it can't buy
Yeah.
happiness.
I guess it's a chicken and an egg situation, right? What
Exactly.
comes first?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I mean, in all of this, it's what your relationship with money is, right?
Yes.
Because if money is only so money also stands for so many things.
Yeah.
When you're younger, like early young adult, I'll
Yeah.
say, money is stability and safety. We learn stability and safety from
Definitely.
our parents, like our
Yeah.
relationship with our parents.
Yes.
So,
Especially if you come from an immigrant household.
100%.
Right, so that time your relationship with money is totally different. And again, like money happiness thing that we're talking about, even I went to a good school because my mom and dad also had a good job. So I think that whole conversation around money, oh, money doesn't buy happiness, it gets you a lot. It gets you knowledge, it gets you investment in yourself.
Yeah.
School, college,
Yeah.
medical
Medical.
as well.
Yeah.
Even delivery, like pregnant women. There's just so much, cancer wards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So money can, yeah, it does help. So as I said, so money gives you stability, safety. But then the relationship of money changes, right? Then it starts to become validation.
Yeah.
Then it starts to become success. Then it starts to become social validation, which house you stay in, which car you drive. So it, as you grow, your relationship with money changes, which it should. It has to.
It will.
And
it will.
yeah.
For some people, I think rarely it doesn't.
And that's also a problem.
Yeah.
It should be changing.
For me, it's more of like I think my relationship with money is very different, right? And I always have arguments with my mom and Jake about it all the time. So they are obviously very calculative, very like investment driven. I am not like that. For me, I know I have the potential to make a lot of money.
yeah.
Right? So I don't fear it. Like, I swear I don't fear
Same,
it.
oh
I don't fear it. And I think my mom and my husband will never get it. My dad gets it to an extent because he's more like me, but I'm never scared of money because even when COVID happened and I decided that my job after IBM was not for me, and then I started my own marketing firm as well. I had gotten job requests at that time. And I knew I did not have a stable income. I swear money, like, I don't get scared of it. I hope this doesn't bite me in the ass, what I'm saying.
No,
but,
no.
but I don't think it will. But I know, like, if something doesn't go well, I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. It's always something. And for me, it's kind of like, I do love a shiny toy. Like, I will not deny that. I love tech. The new iPhone came out, I bought it. Even when I didn't have a job, I bought the new iPhone because I know it'll come. Like, even if I die, I may have, I don't know, 200K, 1 million, 2 million, I don't know. But I'm dying.
Yeah, what are you
I'm
gonna
dying.
do? Yeah, what are you gonna do with it? Take it to the grave.
Yeah, so that's how I think of it.
Your relationship with money. Yeah, I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm not scared of it. And every day I'd say, yeah, like money will come to me. But obviously at the same time, I need to be sane.
Yeah.
I need to be a good person. And I think, like I said, my anchor, like physically like an anchor also, he brings me down. Like if I'm like flying, I'm always like, calm down, like don't sit on a high horse. So I feel I'll just think what I want to think, and
Things work around.
yeah, things will work out.
That's
I
beautiful.
always think like what's meant for me is for me, and what's not meant for me will not come my way, or I'll lose it.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
really
And even
don't
if you lose
care.
it, it's not meant for you.
Yeah, I'll probably be upset that day or the next day, but immediately I'll get to it and I'm like, it's not meant for me. So I really don't sulk and stuff.
Yeah.
If you're in my life, you're in. Yeah.
I love that. I love that relationship because you know what? I also keep saying this that I don't fear money.
Yeah.
Because I'm not looking at it at a higher pedestal or it will go away. Money is so fluid. It has to flow. It has to get out of your bank account for more to come in.
Yeah.
It's a state of flow, right?
Yeah.
And even when like I'm sitting at a table today, like money is sitting with me.
Yeah.
It's not higher than me. It's not lower than me. And because you said that I hope it doesn't bite me in the ass, it's
Yeah.
because some people look at it as lower. I respect it.
Yeah.
And so do you from
Yeah.
what you're saying. You respect it. It's equal. Right? So you're not constantly in that fear of
It definitely is, yeah.
yeah, so that relationship with money is very beautiful. I'm glad that we're on the same page about that.
Yeah, because but I do want to add as a disclaimer, even I have been through absolute
Same.
right? I have, but I'm saying even at that time, on my lowest lows, it's just that having that mindset that you will get it again, it's more like manifestation.
Manifestation,
right?
yes.
Yes, it's
Yes.
like put that energy out there And whatever phase you are in, it will come to you, which is why there are those successful stories like Shah Rukh Khan, like Amitabh Bachchan, or even like Jeff Bezos working out of his basement. Their success stories exist for a reason. Everyone starts from the bottom.
Yeah.
Everyone. All of these things as well, my company and stuff, it wasn't given to me by a silver spoon. It wasn't. Like, no one in my family are entrepreneurs. Like, no one. So sometimes I do envy some castes or sects of society, yeah, even as an Indian or in an Arab society. But I'm like, oh wow, I did this all by myself.
Yeah, that's
By myself. Like, I have lost clients a lot, but I could fear about money.
Yeah.
But
it's manifesting it.
yeah, and
Creating space
yeah.
for it.
Yeah, and I just got back from Saudi. So
Wow.
Like-
so I love the relationship with money, and
Yeah,
we understand that, it has to be manifested. Had bad times, like even I've had bad times. I've been eating like rice and egg for months because it also humbles you and it allows you to respect it. You're not looking down, you're not chasing it. Great.
you will not appreciate brightness without darkness. You'll not appreciate happiness without sadness. You have to go through that.
Yeah.
You have to go through it in order to appreciate it.
That's amazing. And I want to talk about
Yeah.
the company aspect.
Yeah.
Okay, you said that you didn't lose your job, you left the job and you started the.
It was during COVID, actually.
Okay.
So it was like, yeah, I mean.
A downhill,
Yeah.
whatever. Same. So you started the marketing agency. Did it start immediately? Is that an idea that you were toying with? And did your blogging knowledge and the fact that you are known out there help you?
Oh, I love that question. I think so. After I left Publicis, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur and do something of my own. I did not know what. I did not know what it was. So for 2 years I was no, actually just a year. Just a year I was self-employed. Sorry. Just for a year I was running my blog full time, and I was really dissatisfied by it. I cannot do content creation full time. I just cannot.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
no, God, no way. Like, I'm glad I tried it. So I love experimenting with everything because I rather try and fail rather than not try at all. So I tried it and I hated it because I didn't have discipline. I wanted to keep learning, and I think if you're just doing content creation all the time, you're not really engaging with a lot of people or clients telling you that, okay, XYZ is supposed to be done, or these are the different fields that you can get into. I feel with content creation it was just I don't know, it was kind of like holding me back. Now I know I can post about science if I want today. If I want to post about makeup, I can post it tomorrow. If I want to post about my home finds, I can post it day after. But then my audience will be confused. They'll be like, what is she doing? Right? Probably it's the ADHD. I have no idea. But then I was like, no, I want to like deal with people. I want to get higher up the ladder. I just want to do something. And that's when it just came to me very randomly. I swear my life is a fluke. Very randomly, I was like, oh, okay, let me just open a marketing firm. And the reason why I thought it was super unique, although there are so many marketing firms in the industry, is that I combined my Fortune 500 experience, that ground that was set for me, that beautiful ground that was set for me by the Fortune 500 companies, by Publicis, everyone, and use the knowledge that I gained in blogging and in the media industry, and then open a marketing company. Because I feel most of the marketing companies are quite one dimensional. They would think of it only from a very corporate standpoint, like, oh, hello, Aditi, how are you doing? Yeah, this is my company. But that would be from a corporate standpoint if you think about it. And then the other standpoint is social media, where they'll be like, hi, Aditi,
Yeah.
how are you? So I'm saying that combination was not there. And it was very difficult for me to nail as well, because in the beginning I was only getting F&B clients because I was known for that.
Yeah.
So that was
Makes
your
sense,
other
yeah.
question where you said, was it easy for me, or did, because people already knew me. But then when I started, the other dimension was people were like, oh, we want to do influencer marketing for you. But I don't do influencer marketing. I don't do influencer marketing
Interesting.
at all. I don't know if I will ever get into it. I don't know if I'll never do it, but I'm pretty sure my current team will leave me if I do it, because they do not like influencers, or at least the ones we've dealt with. I don't like
Oh
them either.
God.
There are some really good ones, but no. And it was very difficult to get into it. So trust me, it was quite challenging in the beginning, but then I think the marketing strategy of X and Digitize changed over time, and then all of a sudden we started getting our feet dirty in different industries. And now if I look back, we've done F&B, real estate, salons, technology, oil and gas, sustainability, interiors, everything.
You have knowledge on
Everything.
everything now.
Yeah, because even when we got that energy client, they were like, they didn't know at that time that I also have my master's in oil and gas. Right? So even when we got a tech client, they were very skeptical, as I would. Even I would be. They were very skeptical joining X&D, because they were like, these people don't have any experience in it. And
I do.
I've come from that field. The agency you're currently working with, they don't have experience in that. They have experience in social media. So, because even when I was, even when I was in consultancy, although there were a lot of hardships, I was thrown into like finance projects, telco projects, airlines. So I think just with that solidified base, I got so much experience. And now you tell me something, and I have done it, and I have done
Wow.
it, and I really wear that as a badge of honor, because I don't think many companies have that.
A hundred
Yeah,
percent.
all that experience.
So, you know, when
Yeah.
you said that I've taken my experience from here, I've taken my experience from social media and I've made it into my own unique strategy.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that sentence because that is the exact line I
That's a
tell.
USP on its own.
Yeah, that's the exact line I tell my clients when I do my discovery calls
Yeah.
with them. I'm just like, I have been in therapy.
Yeah.
I now give therapy. I
Yeah.
have experienced the old psychology. Old self help books used to be
Yeah.
more like change, change, change. The newer self help books and the newer psychology is always like accept, 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 you know. Wear it with honor. Like
Yeah.
just those words that you're saying comes from a
No,
place
I
of
always do
awareness.
that, because even now, the clients we're working with, they are super corporate.
Yeah.
Super corporate. And like I said, I would be skeptical as well if anyone would sign with a new company, because we're a startup. And it was it was very difficult in the beginning, but I was like, let's just prove us, like, to you. First of all, you approached us, so you know, so you like us. Okay, so and that also, I'm very honest, by the way. So if you see my calls with these clients, again, because I've been in a corporate setup, right, I have seen when there are pitch calls, proposals, everyone's like, oh my god, okay, like, prepare this, okay, prepare this, but like, content runs in my blood, like science does, but content runs in my blood. So when I am sitting with them, I have realized the more I prep, the more I fail.
Wow. I told you the same thing for this podcast also.
Yeah. So I didn't prep. That's why I was like, Aditi, I'm sorry, I didn't prep. I landed at 1 a.m. Like, I didn't prep. But like, the more I prep, I have failed. I can tell you that. And the Saudi project that I just came from, I remember the call. She said, okay, we'll meet at this time, and then I was like, oh yeah, okay, nothing, no, because it's social media, it's content, it runs in my blood. I know what I have to say. It's not like some rocket science or doctorate thing, right? And then I remember Annabelle from my team as well. We were playing with filters because the background was a bit messy, and she was being a ghost, and she was like doing Nagin dances and all of that. And then like we spoke with her, and she's like, "What different do you want to do?" And then we were just like spitting out everything with her. And this is how I was talking. I was like, "Oh my god, yeah, we can do this. We can do this. We want to do this." This is how I was talking, and I'm telling you, like, no one would talk like that. And my mom also sometimes says, don't you think you need to tone it down a bit? But I'm like, would I get here if I kept changing myself? Because I have been in corporate. I know I need to be super uptight, etc., etc., but I can bring that other side. And then we got it because she was like, you guys are so unique, you guys are so different. And we did do that, and we did prove that as
That's
well.
beautiful.
I really don't put out an act. I really don't put out an act. I'm just like literally myself, and that's the other thing that's really helped the company grow.
I mean, that's also what you put out in your on your social media.
Yeah,
you
I
you
don't.
are exactly the same person
I
that I
meet
see on
the
your
client.
stories.
I meet the client. I'm like, hi, how are
Yeah.
you? Like, I don't know, hi, how are you?
Even right now, before our podcast, you were just like, "Hi."
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
wouldn't know. How are you doing? I'm Naomi D'Souza. What is your name?
it doesn't. It doesn't work.
I can't. I can't.
So I love the fact that you own your uniqueness.
Yeah.
It's really important, right? And as I said, even with my business, I always come with this, hey, I'm bringing these two things. I'm bringing my knowledge from here and there, making it like wholesome, like a holistic angle and bringing it to you. How did you get to this point where you felt like, I now know myself? And did therapy ever play a role into this?
Oh my God, it was a lot of therapy, by the way. Like, first of all, I know what I'm doing is not criminal.
Yeah.
Right? Of course, if you are an actual psychopath and you actually need help or you are criminal, yes, it's black or white, you don't have to change. But with heavy therapy, oral medications, lots of psychiatric appointments, I then somehow got into hypnosis as well.
Okay.
Because my mom found that actually, initially my mom was also, again, desi parents. Oh, what is this? You are mental. Like, but my mom got
No, but
really
Desi
supportive.
parents don't, in the initial aspect, they don't get it.
They don't.
It's like,
Of
oh,
course they
depression,
don't.
depression, kya hai? Even we've done it.
Yeah, but they don't realize, by the way, the world has become super competitive now. So
We're doing 10 more things. And yeah.
if you have even prices of houses, so you can't show off that, oh, I had a house. And Hermes as well was $4,000 a few many years ago, so you can't really compare, right? Even inflation, hello. So you do need medication sometimes to go through life alone. So my mom got really supportive after, but I got into this in the first place because of Jake. And I think that is so important, because I felt what I was no, I thought what I was feeling was normal. I think until you have a good spouse or a boyfriend at that time get into your life, you don't know what is abnormal.
Yeah.
And that was so deep for me.
The
And
chaos seems so normal.
that is how I got into therapy. I did not touch it. I got into it like in 2020. I remember it was October, November, and Jake came with me for my psychiatry appointment, and that's how I started medication as well. And then from that time, it was again like full throttle, as I would call it. I was doing therapy every week, and then
But
it
what was
was
the reason to go into therapy?
I I felt at that time I had depression. At least that's what Jake would say. I just wanted to cry all the time. I was extremely suicidal. So I thought, again, like I said, it was normal.
Yeah.
Normal. And Jake said, I think, you need to go get checked. And then that's how I got into
And you
it.
trusted him.
Yeah, I just trusted him.
Wow.
I just trusted him. Yeah, I was with him for like 4, 5 years. I was already engaged to him as well at that time. And I was like, if he's saying it,
Yeah.
I'll just do it. If someone else would tell me, I wouldn't.
Yeah, that also happens. Yeah.
I wouldn't, because you would deem it as an insult, right?
But that's also how the Desi parents look at it, right? It's somewhere like insulting, like my family, in my family, my daughter, my
Yeah. Like no, I don't look at it that way at all. So yeah, so then that's how I went, and therapy did help a lot, but I did feel there were some aspects where I was still stuck in my old thoughts and mentality. And that's when mom found out about hypnosis. And I feel that was the biggest breakthrough for me.
Tell me more.
So first of all, obviously, first I was scared.
Okay,
Whenever anyone
yeah,
thinks
yeah.
of hypnosis, you think someone is dangling a pendulum. Ooh, look at the pendulum.
Oh my God.
But it wasn't. So
Yeah.
again, societal talks, right? And then
And what you see on movies and yeah, it all just
Jeez, yeah. So then I started hypnosis, and obviously I had to explain my story to him. And then I started hypnosis, and I think hypnosis is what gets to your subconscious mind. And sometimes during therapy, I wouldn't know what to say. So she would ask me questions, and I'd be like, I don't know. Or
yeah.
like, I don't know why I'm doing this, or I don't know why I feel this way. But with hypnosis, he got into my subconscious mind, things that were probably hidden and dug deep down. So he was telling me sometimes what happens when you're 6 will affect you when you're 28. Because your formative years are actually till about 23, 24. People would think it's till 16, 18 or so, but it's actually till about 23. That's what he had told me. So he got into my subconscious, and then that's when I realized why I do certain things
Yeah.
the way I do. And then that's what really helped me. And I realized at that time as well is that you have to deconstruct stuff to construct it again. So that was something that took a long time for me to realize, because I was like, why should I talk about it to heal? I don't have to talk about it to heal. So that was the wrong mentality. But then I realized the more I was talking about it, and I was like, okay, that's why I do this. Okay, that's why I do this. That's why I'm this way. Oh, that's why I'm like so unfiltered. That's how I realized so many things. And then I could
Yeah.
piece it back together.
That's so
And
beautiful. And
yeah.
like when you said that when you talk about it, you're aware about it. Sometimes we look at it as flaws, but
I don't.
and then sometimes you wear that as a armor, right? You wear that as strength at this
And
point.
my mom, when I was going through this as well, she would say that, oh, but our upbringing was so perfect. We did no wrong. But the reality is that my parents were amazing. They did give me everything under the sun that I wanted. But the thing is, no one's upbringing is 100%. That is what I had to teach my parents, that no one's upbringing is 100%, because they themselves have their own traumas. They are immigrant parents. They also were not exposed to therapy. No one. and
Well said.
and even if I'm doing therapy, if my husband is doing therapy, if we're doing couples therapy together as well, our kids, you think they'll be 100%? No, they won't. And if my kids tell me that mom, you passed this trauma to me, I would respect it. I would agree to it, and then
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no like justifying
No
going back and
grudge and
forth.
all.
Nothing. So I've told my mom, you were perfect. In fact, the woman I am today, running a company, is all because of you itself.
100%.
But like,
Yeah.
therapy is therapy.
I love that because honestly, as you said, what you did when you were 6 years old affects you when you're 28. It's the whole inner child aspect that we talk
And I didn't
about.
know that. I found that so funny in the beginning.
Really?
And I was like, oh, okay, inner child.
Yeah.
Because again, people laugh about it. Like I said, it's societal, right?
Yeah.
And that's the other thing I told mom. I was like, mom, sometimes it's not just about the upbringing, it's my own surrounding. I said I went to school. I
Different
had my
people.
own bullies. I had other people's traumas on me, or I had stuff that happened to me that you don't know. Things happen. You have your own boyfriends, you have your own partner.
And being a woman,
So,
you're obviously going to get it.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it took a very long time for me to explain that to my mom. And then I think, fast forward to now, something that I must add is, people really commend me for my mom being my best friend, but people don't realize that it wasn't like that. I was the eldest daughter. I had crazy curfews. I had a very strict mother because I was the eldest daughter. But I was a very stubborn child. I wanted my parents to grow with me. So the thing is, I think the other thing that people don't realize is, parents, actually, this for parents, when parents leave wherever they are from, in my case, India, and they come here, India is also evolving, but they have come to Dubai and they're stuck in that mindset that they are taught.
Yeah.
If that makes sense,
Yes,
right? So,
100%.
when you go back to India for a vacation, they look at others and they are like, oh, okay, this auntie has actually evolved, but they are stuck in that mentality, and they bring that here. I was such a stubborn child. I was like, no mom, this is this, Instagram is this is this, because my mom was very scared in the beginning that my face would be used for malpractices and things like that, right?
Oh.
But I was like, but mom, that shouldn't stop me from becoming successful. I'm doing interviews with like huge leaders today. If I fear that my face is going to be used in something, I'm like, mom, you know I wouldn't do something bad. Jake, you know I wouldn't do something. Dad, you would, like my sister as well. I wouldn't do anything. So even if it is used, it's used. I can't do anything about it. When it happens, I'll worry.
Yeah.
So I had bad fights with my mother. Bad fights with my mother that no, you need to evolve. You need to do this. You need to do that. I am on Instagram, you join. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving my blog. I am doing da 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 da. Then when my dreams started coming true, when I started becoming more successful, of course my mom will trust me and have faith in me. Like I said, I'm not doing anything criminal.
Beautiful.
I tell them I'm not doing anything criminal. I'm making my money. I am getting popularity in a right way.
Yeah.
What are you worried about? As a mom, of course you'll be worried. And I see that. That is how she's my best friend. It's not like I just popped out of her and like she became my bestie. People don't see that. I had such my relationship with my mom became like this only like few years ago.
But you had to go through the waves.
You have to go through it. You have to go through it. So even when if people see Jake and I, they're like, "Oh, you guys are like best friends, a husband." No, they didn't. It just didn't get to this place.
You work to it.
You really.
There's
have
so
to-
many loyalty tests that you go through. There's so much like, I've had a bad day, you've shown up for me. You've had a bad day, I've shown up for you. And you actually believe in each other's value
You
systems.
have to suffer.
Yeah, you have to suffer. You have to
But
wake up.
people are scared of that. People are scared of that. So even when Bessie thing happened, like of course I was in the worst place of my life, but good things started happening weirdly. When I was at the worst point in my life personally, my career was kicking off like mad. So for me, so this is something my coach also said that the negative thing about life is that you have to go through hardships to go through good stuff. If you're only going through good stuff, which will never happen,
Never.
if you don't appreciate the bad stuff that's happening, you're not going to get that success that you want.
Yeah.
So if people get that success easy as well,
It doesn't last longer.
it will go down that quickly.
It's like losing weight immediately through starving and all of that.
Exactly. That's why now when something bad happens, I always, I'm like, okay, something good will happen.
It will.
And this is the same case, with relationships as well. I mean, yeah.
So that also ties up to what we were saying earlier, right? About money and happiness.
Yeah.
It's like,
True.
so, okay, you can get your BMW, but do you know how to enjoy that happiness? How to be happy?
Yeah.
That comes from times like this, when
And
you've
it's not
had your low.
daddy's money for me. It's not daddy's money for me. So people
Self-made.
really think it's just like so easy and stuff like that. No. But people do not want to suffer with their parents.
Yeah.
They do not want to sit down with their mom, have that uncomfortable chat and said I've been through XYZ.
And as you said, when, okay, no one's perfect, no parenting is perfect,
Yeah.
you are going to get some trauma. It's in therapy, it's all about knowing, okay, my trauma is coming from fear of abandonment. I'm not blaming you that you did this to me. Because see, now you're an adult, you have to take responsibility of yourself, you're not going to hold a grudge. But what therapy does is allows you to realize, now what do you do about it? How do you manage it? When you are reacting to someone, where is it coming from? Right? So it's so important to know yourself, because if you don't hack your own life, now you're just going to be a burden onto your loved ones.
That is
And
something
why do
I've
you want to
learned.
do that?
That is definitely
And
something
that
I've
is
learned.
so childish and selfish, in my opinion. Your mental
Yes.
health can't be someone else's burden.
100%, because some people go like, oh, how did your husband support you with things like this? I'm like, if he doesn't support me, he's a bad spouse.
That's so true. Oh God, I can go on talking.
Yeah, of course.
But unfortunately, time is up.
Yeah.
But I want you to answer one last question of, what would you tell someone now, especially the Gen Z, the younger generation, about therapy? What is that one advice that you can give them?
You really learn more about yourself. If you want to find out who you are, do a psychometric, right? Do a psychometric test and find out what issues you have. It may be a bit expensive, but you rather, like, if you pay cheap, you pay twice. So figure out all the issues that you have, just get it done and dusted, because some are clinical and people don't realize it. And then that's it. And then that's how you've hacked your way to life, because once you figure out your issue, you'll go through therapy as well.
Yeah, that's
That same
true.
way.
And that's how you become an entrepreneur and a famous influencer.
Content
content
creator.
creator. My bad. Content creator. Get the awards, get the entrepreneurial life, and get the team that you've wanted. Shit, yeah. I wish we could talk longer. We'll talk after this.
I can't believe we spoke for what,
It's
1
an hour.
hour?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God.
Exactly. We had so many more topics we wanted to touch,
Yeah,
but
I know,
I
I
guess
know,
this
of course.
also means that we're this comfortable, we're going to do this again.
No, of course.
Yeah?
Of course. Thank you so much for having
Thank you
me.
for coming. And like, I love the energy, which the way it happened. We were just
Yeah.
like, okay, we're doing this, we're doing this.
I know.
And then here we are just like, same, same, same.
Like the Goa trip that never happened.
Oh, love it, love it, love it. Do you want to tell them that they can find you?
No, it's fine. You're gonna
Social
tag me
media,
anyway.
everything? All good, all good. All right. Thank you, everyone. Like, follow, subscribe, and we'll put her details down there. Thank you. See you.